What went wrong inside one of Japan's most beloved toy factories, a place meant to create joy for millions of children, when it suddenly turned into a scene of panic and destruction? Flames erupted, smoke filled the air, and workers who once assembled action figures and dolls were now fighting to save their own lives. Within minutes, decades of craftsmanship and history were reduced to ashes. But how could a modern factory in one of the world's most technologically advanced countries suffer such a devastating fire? Before we uncover the shocking truth behind this blaze, make sure to hit subscribe to ManuFact, where we explore the hidden stories behind factory disasters, industrial secrets, and billion-dollar mistakes that change entire industries. The perfect day that turned into chaos. It started like any other morning at the Tokyo Toy Factory, a brand known across Asia for its colorful figurines, collectible robots, and limited edition anime characters. The assembly lines were buzzing, workers were testing plastic molds, and forklifts carried finished toys toward the warehouse for export. But at around 10:45 a.m., an operator noticed something unusual: a faint smell of burning plastic near the injection molding section. At first, no one panicked. In factories, strange smells come and go, especially where heating elements and molding machines run non-stop. Yet this wasn't just another overheated motor. Within seconds, smoke started rising from a corner where plastic scraps were stored. By the time a supervisor reached the spot, the flames had already crawled up a stack of packaging material. What started as a small flicker turned into a raging fire, feeding on cardboard, foam, and solvents stored nearby. The race against time. The automatic sprinkler system kicked in, but it was too late. The heat was so intense that the pipes above the fire melted before they could fully activate. Workers scrambled for extinguishers. Alarms blared, and the entire factory floor descended into chaos. Here's the twist: the fire didn't start in the main production area at all. It started in a side storage bay, where rejected toy parts coated with leftover resin were being temporarily held. A technician later admitted that one of the heaters used to soften the resin for recycling had been improvised to save time, and that shortcut may have caused the short circuit that ignited everything. This single decision to bypass a safety interlock ended up halting an entire production line, costing the company millions in damages and sending shockwaves across Japan's toy industry. The aftermath. A factory in ruins. When firefighters arrived, the scene looked unreal. Flames leapt 20 feet high. Toxic black smoke poured out of the roof, and melted plastic dripped like lava from overhead conveyors. It took nearly 7 hours to control the blaze. Inside, more than 60% of the production floor was destroyed. Thousands of collectible toys, some meant for Christmas exports, were gone. Even worse, 2 workers were hospitalized with smoke inhalation, and over 300 employees suddenly found themselves without a workplace. The company's official statement later said, "We are heartbroken. What we built for decades vanished in a single day." The real cause nobody expected. Initially, everyone believed the culprit was the faulty heater. But when investigators examined the remains, they discovered something even more alarming. The fire didn't just spread because of the spark, it spread because the factory's fire doors were left open to improve air circulation during the summer. This allowed flames and smoke to travel freely across multiple sections, bypassing the barriers designed to contain them. In other words, it wasn't just a technical failure, it was a system failure. Safety systems existed, but they weren't followed. The fire detection sensors were due for maintenance the week after the incident. The storage layout violated spacing rules, and staff hadn't practiced a proper fire drill in over 6 months. Every safety layer that should have stopped the disaster failed, not because of bad luck, but because of small, everyday habits that went unchecked. When toys stopped coming. As news of the fire spread, retailers began reporting supply shortages. Popular figurines went out of stock overnight. Collectors panicked. Prices of limited edition toys tripled on online marketplaces, and some fans even organized crowdfunding campaigns to support the displaced workers. For an entire generation of anime fans, this wasn't just about toys, it was about a piece of culture going up in flames. And here's the irony. The same factory that once symbolized imagination and creativity became a symbol of how fragile modern manufacturing really is. If you've made it this far, remember to like this video and subscribe to ManuFact, because every week we break down real factory disasters like this and uncover what went wrong behind closed doors. Lessons learned. Could this have been prevented? The short answer, yes. Let's break down the key lessons from this tragedy. Never bypass safety systems. The modified heater that triggered the blaze should have been locked out until repairs were verified. In many factories, temporary fixes become permanent, and that's when danger hides in plain sight. Storage areas must follow fire zoning rules. Mixing flammable packaging with machinery is like storing gasoline next to a spark plug. Proper zoning could have limited the fire's spread. Fire doors save lives, but only if they're closed. One open door turned a localized incident into a factory-wide catastrophe. Routine fire door checks are as critical as production checks. Maintenance and training matter. A well-trained team can stop a small fire before it grows. But without regular drills and inspection schedules, even advanced factories are vulnerable. Plan for business continuity. The Tokyo toy factory had no backup site ready to take over production. That mistake alone delayed exports by months and cost partnerships worth millions. From ashes to a lesson for the world. Months later, the factory rebuilt its operations with stricter controls, automatic sensors, flame-resistant materials, and better staff training. But the scars remain. This wasn't just a story about fire. It was a story about complacency, about how even the smallest shortcut can ignite a chain reaction. Factories around the world took notice. From electronics to food manufacturing, companies began re-auditing their safety zones and staff behaviors, because if it could happen in Tokyo, a city known for precision and discipline, it could happen anywhere. So, the next time you see a toy on a store shelf, remember, behind its cheerful colors lies an entire world of machinery, safety systems, and people working tirelessly to keep joy alive safely. If you found this story eye-opening, make sure to subscribe to ManuFact for more real-world factory investigations, hidden industry stories, and lessons every business can learn from. Comment below. Do you think most factories truly follow fire safety protocols, or just assume they're safe until something goes wrong? Because in the world of manufacturing, one spark can change everything.